It was 9 weeks. Do you know that, children? It was 9 weeks that we were on the sea, and in some boisterous storms too. And there was a time we getting tossed to and fro, and at one time the main beam started to bow, started to bend, and it was cracking. And then water, it made the upper works leaky. And God be praised for the ship's carpenter and a great screw that we had brought with us out of Holland, and we put it up in place and it held, and we made the voyage certainly through God's mercy.
Yes, there were many people who came over on that first ship, the Mayflower, that came here for religious freedom. And ironically, they came here and established a colony that didn't afford that same rights to the people who were indigenous to this region.
And what hit here between 1616 and 1618, there was a major disease that came through, that swept through, that wiped out over 70% of the Wampanoag people within a 2-year span. And when the colonists got here in 1620, there's really no good estimate. People say over 70% wiped out, so who knows for sure.
They immediately wanted to make my ancestors like them and not to allow them to exist as our Creator made us here to be. You know, we have archaeological evidence that shows that we've been here for more than 12,000 years, and we've taken instruction from our Creator, and they didn't regard that as important.
Here we have more reason for contentment in that we have our church, and that gives us hope and it gives us strength. So we hope we do God's work here.
Governor Bradford sent men out for hunting, fowling, and brought back probably 200 of duck and geese, as I do recall. Mayhaps it were the firing of guns that alerted some of the native fellows, for who comes forth but the local emperor, the Usamiquim, his proper name, but the Massasoit, as they do call him, meaning great emperor in their tongue, with mayhaps 100 of his fellows, all armed to the teeth. And the Massasoit being, kingly, by God's right, clearly, and therefore very, very clever, immediately realized what was going on, sent out some of his men to bring back 6 deer, which they distributed to some of the chiefer men in town. And thus we had feasted all together. Very unusual. It only happened ever the one time, but what a grand time it was. 3 whole days did this go on. But as I say, the only time we've ever done it.
As for freedom, I'm not certain I understand. It is, we are not free. We have a duty to our husbands, and we have a duty to God, so there is not much freedom. I suppose we are free whether we follow God's law or not, but we will pay the wages of sin if we do not.
I leave the term friendship out because for both sides, English and Wampanoag, for living the same way for thousands of years. The cultures are different, the languages are different, and if you come together like that, you're not going to hit it off. There are more and more people coming over. More and more people are taking up more and more land. And there's a lot of things that led up to war, but the bottom line, the way you look at it, is one side believed in ownership of land and the other side didn't believe in ownership of land.
Before I even came here, I was a painter, so you always look at the negative and the positive and you put it together. It's like a puzzle, it clicks together, but you have to have some kind of intuitive energy in order to look at that, which a lot of people don't. You know, it's just like when a lot of things go on in life and families and everything, you kind of turn it into more of a positive energy. And usually that positive energy is colors. Colors make it bright, make you happy, and that's where that comes from, I think, more than anything else.
Our culture is a natural resource, just like a river, just like the rain, just like the trees and the forest. I mean, it is a natural resource that is something to be preserved.